In today's world, we are increasingly dependent on technology. Our business and personal lives rely on it, but as you've probably noticed, it's unreliable. Our computers are slow, so we end up squinting at smartphones and tablets. The jokers we pay to fix our stuff have no clue what they're doing. We live in constant fear that something's going to happen to our personal data. So we're scared into paying for fake protection that proves useless when disaster strikes. Update attacks, fake Wi-Fi, cloud control, intelligent, successful people feel intimidated by the chaos and think it's somehow their fault. If they only knew what the industry was doing to them, they'd get torches and pitchforks. If only we had someone to explain it all in plain English so we can start protecting ourselves. Oh wait, we do! It's the Computer Exorcist Podcast with your host, Mark Anthony Arena.
From the Wallace Memorial microphone in my backyard overlooking the Can of Worms in downtown Rochester, New York, this is the Computer Exorcist Podcast. My name is Mark Anthony Arena. I am so glad you have joined us today. Today we have a very special guest who falls under the category of people who have saved Mark's life.
Oh, that's nice.
This is Apprentice Palmer. As some of you might already have interacted with him and had the pleasure of having him clean your computer and already know how fantastic he is and good with people and all that. So Apprentice Palmer, tell us about yourself.
I have been fixing electronic-y things for, probably like a decade now. You know, back when you were a teenager and I wanted to get a phone and didn't want to spend an arm and a leg to get a phone, and luckily I had a friend who was clumsy enough to break theirs, and I went, hey, can I give you $5 for it? And they're like, yeah. So I replaced the screen, and that sort of got me hooked on the idea of, oh, you can actually make something nice and usable out of something unusable without having to just buy a new one. And then their brother dropped his phone a couple years later, and I was like, hey, can I buy some Taco Bell for it? And he's like, yeah. So I, for years, did not buy a phone. I actually just, for the first time, bought a phone like a couple months ago, ever. So I've been fixing just like, you know, computers and phones and stuff, because once you start doing it for yourself, suddenly family and friends go, hey, I dropped my iPad, can you replace it? Yeah. And then I got my 2-year degree over at MCC here in electrical and computer engineering, and just doing more and more techie stuff until about a year and a half ago, which we've known you for, you've been like a family friend for a bunch of years now. 'Cause Mom, you were at church, or Mom heard you on the radio or something, and then...
Yeah, it was probably at least 5 years.
At least, yeah, and I read your book back in 2022, so we've known each other at least since then.
Neat.
And then back at the beginning of last year, you were like, hey, I don't have enough hands or time in the day. Can you help me out? So I was like, yeah. And been doing that. And I feel like it's been going well.
Absolutely.
Definitely have learned a lot and hopefully helped a lot too in the process.
And you have what I refer to as the sense of smell, right? I can only teach people so much, and I can only dump so much information in a PDF and in a training book and so on. But you have the sense of smell where you walk in and you just try things and you get to the root of the problem and figure it out.
Gosh, yeah, because there's like, you know, millions of different random little thingies that could go wrong. I feel like the core skill you need is, I mean, some loose troubleshooting ideas, but the main thing, if you know how to look stuff up and then have some loose troubleshooting skills, you can solve most any problem short of, like, you know, at catching fire.
But that is the je ne sais quoi of our job. Right? That is, I've had people, I've seen repair guys who get scared because it's a different model number, or it's a different color case than the other printer was, or whatever. And they're scared because they don't have a training manual regarding that particular model. No, it's all garbage, it's all the same garbage, it all works the same. You have to know how it works and have that deep down knowledge of how things work.
Yeah, definitely. Macs definitely freaked me out a little bit early on, because, like, I have an iPhone, but my, like, laptop is just a Windows one, and I've only ever had Windows computers. My dad has a Mac, but like I barely ever touch my dad's computer. So once I started doing Macs, it definitely weirded me out, and the fact that the keyboard just, of course, they have to have different names for different keys and a different layout and stuff. And, but I'm used to it now and stuff. That took a little practice and lots of Googling early on, but
it's all synonyms. I always tell people, like, instead of control panel, it's called system preferences, or instead of this, it's called that. Instead of alt, it's option. It's all the same stuff.
Yeah.
And that's another thing I always say, because people say, would you fix my Mac, or are you afraid of it? And I say, yeah, most guys are afraid of it, and they'll keel over if you say the word Mac. So be careful saying the word Mac in front of a computer guy at a cookout or something. He'll keel over. But yeah, once you get a grip on things, that's what I'm trying to say. Like and I always tell people that Palmer's smarter than me. He doesn't have the experience yet, but he's got a higher IQ than me. Because when you get onto some machine, you just learn it right away.
Maybe it's the youthfulness. I don't know. I don't think I'm youthful anymore. I'm like 25 now, but
I'm at the point now where technically I'm youthful, but because I don't slip on the ice, but but I don't want to deal with anything anymore.
Didn't you like slip and like break your arm?
I did.
Okay.
I slipped in the summer.
Oh, it wasn't ice. It was just
it was worse
there.
Totally worse. All right. We're going to, and this is, I try most of the time to pick articles that are relevant to the guest. So certainly these articles are relevant to you. Yeah. This is actually I believe the first or second time maybe that we've done Computer Exorcist outside in the back deck. I think it's the second time. So enjoy the nature sounds, folks. Those are real.
Oh, what's the thing you say? What are you calling your microphone or something during your intro?
The Wallace Memorial Microphone.
The Wallace Memorial Microphone?
Yeah, named after a college roommate I inherited it from.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, his dad handed it to me and said, go do great things with this, so I am.
Nice.
Between my dad and Wallace, they were the people who taught me most of the stuff I know about technology.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we are doing good things with this microphone, and we are explaining technology to people. All right.
Solid.
Hackaday.com, 2021, The Great Windows 11 Computer Extinction Experiment. There was a time when a new version of Windows was really big deal, such as the launch of Windows 95, for which the Rolling Stones' Start Me Up could be heard across all manner of media outlets. Gradually over the years, this excitement has petered out. And I remember the Windows 95 launch. It was monumental. It was a huge step up, right?
Was I alive then?
No, 1995.
Okay, it was 95? Yeah. Okay. I don't remember it then.
So, but it truly was. The leap from Windows 3.1 to Windows 95 was a true leap. And of course, it was fraught with hazards and bugs and whatever, but it was a huge leap.
It's crazy that, like, iPhone ads, they all act like they're the first iPhone coming out.
Yeah!
It's a monumental thing, and it's like, all right, you just got some minor software updates. Cool.
90 more cameras! You'll have to wear 3 belts to put it in your pocket.
Anyway, sorry.
So, this is good. So, over the years, this excitement has petered out. With Windows 10, that would, we were told, be the last ever version. But here we are in 2021, the article is, and Windows 11 will be the next latest and greatest from Redmond. Along with all the hoopla, there's been an undercurrent of concern. Every new OS comes with a list of hardware requirements, but those for Windows 11 seem to go beyond the usual. Aside from requiring secure boot and trusted platform module, both of which are fake pieces of security that can never protect you against anything ever, in my opinion, they've struck a load of surprisingly recent processors off the list. So you got a computer that's 3, 4, 5 years old, you might not be able to use it because too bad for you.
Is there, like, actual processing going on in their Jenga tower for Windows 11 that would be any actual cause of concern, or they're just trying to get you to step it up in their computers?
Great question. I love how you use the Jenga tower thing. This guy's all right.
Well, I learned it from you.
Yeah, someone actually cares about what I say. Yeah, to answer your question, it's like this. So, for example, Intel has Core i3, Core i5, Core i7, right? Those are like the trim levels, right? every couple of years they'll make a new generation of i3, i5, i7, but those are still the trim levels.
So they're still like making i3s. They're just making i3 5.0 or something.
Yeah, it's not like i3 was the old one and i5 is the new one and i7 is the next one. Yeah, those are trim levels.
Okay.
So yes, there's like a incremental. So first of all, in the 90s, again, there were huge leaps. In the 90s, every year Intel processors would double in speed.
Yeah.
Next year's one would be twice as fast as last year's one. But nowadays, with any Intel processors, they're only like 1% faster than their predecessor. So there really is not much of an improvement. And I always say it like this. If you have a BMW 7 Series, right, just like a Core i7, it's still going to be comfortable and luxurious, even if it's 10 years old.
Yeah.
So honestly, the Core i7s, I mean, any Core i3, i5, i7, right? Those are the high-end ones. The lower-end one is Celeron, and no one wants to use those. But if you have a Core i3, i5, i7, even ones from 10 years ago or more, totally fine. Especially, of course, the i7. If you have an i7 from, like, 2010, you're totally fine. It's extremely powerful, and you're fine. But they don't want you to know that, because they need to keep up the illusion that, computers get old, right? You go to the store, and what does the dude at the store tell you? Oh, your computer gets old, and computers get slow over time.
And of course, it's because you don't have the newest processor, not because you have a beat up old hard drive in there and a bunch of cat hair.
Yeah, exactly. So, anyway, every new OS comes with a list of hardware requirements, but the requirements for Windows 11 go beyond the usual. It makes absolute sense for a new operating system to lose support for some older hardware, okay? Windows 95 abandoned the 286 chip, right? There was no physical way you were going to run Windows 95 on a 286. That's totally understandable that you couldn't do that. Okay. But in this case, it seems as though they've wielded the axe a little too liberally, and a lot of the owners will be left in the cold. In the past, there were accusations of a Microsoft and Intel duopoly conspiring to advance each other's products. They weren't actually a duopoly because they weren't peers, right? But they were kind of helping each other out.
Yeah.
But it's still, that was the accusation. The difference between the capabilities of a 386 from 1990 and a Pentium 3 from 1999 was humongous, right? Like I was just telling you with Moore's Law. But the difference between the first Intel i7 from, let's say, 2010 and the latest one from 2025 is very tiny. It will be interesting to see when the OS finally does land. Will it, in fact, run on some of those lesser machines, simply without official support? Folks, we are here to tell you that it's true. Palmer and I have access to this thing called a Rufus, which allows us to install Windows 11 on almost anything.
Pretty much anything, yeah.
Pretty much anything. Actually, yesterday, I was at the office screwing around with a 2012 MacBook Pro, just like the one I'm using here, and I installed Windows 11 on it by accident. I actually didn't mean to do it. I was just putting a hard drive in it, and it worked fine.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
It'd be a fun thing to bust out at Starbucks, make people cringe at you.
Yeah, right? Hey, brand new machine with Windows 11, even though it's more than 15 years old. So, a new OS shouldn't cause an e-waste crisis. And the article has a little photograph of people in Ghana who are burning wires just to melt the plastic off of them to recover the copper. And by the way, folks, if you do have old computers, hand them to me. Actually, this summer, I've given a lot of computers, probably half dozen computers, and a bag of tablets and phones to priests who are from Ghana.
Oh, nice.
So we're actually sending real, full-functioning 3G phones, for example. In America, they knock down all the 3G cell towers.
Yeah, you can't use those anymore. You're right.
But you can use them in Ghana. So I've been giving them the phones. They're perfectly good phones that were not allowed to work.
Progress, Mark. Progress.
Exactly, right? It feels like backwards progress. And again, I always try to tell you that when I was your age, things were getting better. Mm-hmm. They were getting better, and all of a sudden they're not. So, anyway, yeah, folks, if you have 3G phones, just erase them properly, right? Get rid of your personal info, and then hand them to anyone who goes to Africa. Yeah. So, if so many slightly older machines won't be able to make the upgrade from Windows 10, it's likely that a significant number will be discarded, even though Windows 10 will continue to be supported until 2025. And honestly, folks, use it for another 5 years beyond this year.
Yeah.
Hey, you're good for another 3 to 5 years easily. It's only when Firefox doesn't like you anymore that we have to worry about it. So, and even then, right, 5 years from now, then one of us will show up and put you on Windows 11, or we will liberate you with
Mint.
Yeah. So, it could represent a significant e-waste impact. And for many users, buying a new computer with the latest OS installed is more palatable than performing their own upgrade, right? So people are led to believe or led to throw their computers in the garbage because buying a new computer is easier than doing an upgrade.
Yeah, guys with today, he had the hard drive went on his, and like it was fully like clicking and stuff, and it's like 7-year-old, and it was the old style hard drive, and there was cobwebs and dust, literal cobwebs in his computer. But he's like, should I just buy a new one? It's like, no, everything else here is good. I'm gonna put this new solid state one in. You're gonna be going, and now he's good to go and didn't need to throw it out and buy a new one.
Yeah, that's what bugs me is that, again, the dudes at the store are waiting there with open arms, ready to sell you something new for no reason at all ever, and, for the slightest problem. But yeah, we can make these things last 15 years, no problem. So, it's likely that a greater than average number of Hackaday readers, right, of this tech journal are already users of alternative operating systems, right, such as Linux and so on. But expecting an ordinary Windows user to install something like that is a pipe dream, right? And that's where we come in, right? We do this for you folks. It's not a big deal. And the real impact will be a large and slowly dwindling Windows 10 population and a new mountain forming in e-waste. And the author finishes by saying, I think that a new OS should have a better legacy than that. And again, there are no improvements at all with Windows 11. It's just like you were saying with this week's iPhone. There is nothing new of any merit or value. So, next one here, we got a couple of these. HowToGeek.com. Microsoft backs down. Windows 11 will run on any PC, except they forgot to tell consumers that. Don't tell consumers. One of the most significant sticking points with Windows 11 is the strict system requirements. However, Microsoft just announced that any PC can install the Windows 11 ISO, opening up the new OS to just about anyone who wants to install it. I mean, there are still certain requirements, but anyway, yeah, that's all.
Yeah.
Microsoft is mostly sticking to the original Windows 11 system requirements, though the company did add a few more processors to the list. However, the firm told The Verge that it would only enforce restrictions when upgrading from 10 to 11. So a fresh installation would have no restrictions.
There you go. Hence Rufus.
Right. So do you see how backwards that is? They're saying if you have an older computer and you want to upgrade it to 11, we're not going to allow you to. If you find an old computer somehow or buy an old computer at a store, then we'll let you do it. Yeah. So basically they hate people and they don't want you upgrading your current machine.
Or you just got to transfer everything off your machine to a backup, go at it fresh with Windows 11 as opposed to doing their upgrade process within settings, which is, I don't know, sort of clunky anyways.
Yeah, that's if you didn't know us, you'd have to do that.
Yeah.
That's insane. It's totally backwards, right? It should be that if you have a pre-existing current Windows 10 machine, okay, then you just upgrade.
I think they'd make it easier for you if you have it already.
And that being said, by the way, if you ever try to do an upgrade, by the way, half the time it results in failure and it roasts the whole machine. So that's the other thing. It's all just chaos. And again, we're here to make life simple for you. I know a lot of computer dudes say that, but we actually want to make your life simple instead of overwhelming you with crazy stuff.
The main thing I've found annoying about that is like like, if you want to buy a new computer, like, okay, I spilled coffee all over it, it's broken, it got stolen, my cat jumped on it and it cracked into 3 pieces. Like, if you go to an actual store to buy a new computer, you can't not get 11 on it. Like, you go to Best Buy or somewhere, like, they have computers with 11, or go buy a used one.
And that's a great point too. Is there's so many points there, but number one, if you get a brand new computer, please let us know before you turn it on so we can protect you from the Microsoft account scandal and the OneDrive scandal. Next, yes, you are right to fear Windows 11 because nobody on this earth, including myself, can figure out how to use it. So we install something called OpenShell that makes it look like a Windows 7 computer so you can actually use it. But yeah, great point. You couldn't even find one. I mean, yeah, I'm sure if you could find a used one somewhere or whatever. Yeah. All right. So, of course, there's no guarantee that Windows 11 will run well on older machines since Microsoft is optimizing it for newer, more powerful computers. They don't sit there and click a button that says optimize for newer. What they're actually doing is making it a bloaty pile of garbage. They're not optimizing it so that you, right? That's like saying that snowy Rochester roads are optimized for trucks. No, they're snowy. So it's bloaty and it needs horsepower.
It's funny too because they'll say like, "Hey, we're trying to make our computers more, environmentally friendly and consume less power by shutting down things you actually want running." But then they throw in, Microsoft Edge, which they won't let you uninstall. If you open up Task Manager, is always running multiple instances of it in the background, always on your computer. Like, you want my computer to use less energy? Don't have as much bloatware on there.
Huge point. Totally, that's a huge point. They only do things that are in their best interest, right? So they claim they'll put a little leaf icon and they'll claim that they're helping the environment. And we're going to get to this next article. We're going to talk about how Microsoft, their horrible track record as far as the environment. Absolutely, nice. Great point. So they said, of course, there's no guarantee it'll run well on your older PC, but at least you'll be able to try for yourself to see whether it'll work, right? So again, making you into a mechanic. The company doesn't even plan to advertise this method to consumers. What did we say at the beginning of this article, right? You still need to have a 64-bit processor of at least 1 gigahertz with at least 2 cores and 4 gig of RAM and 64 gig of hard drive. That's understandable. Mm-hmm. That's totally understandable. 64-bit processors have been around since 2006.
Yeah.
And I get it that they didn't want to... I mean, you'd have to create a whole separate version for older 32-bit processors, so I get that. That's fine. So many more casual PC users will be told that they can't install the operating system. And again, we'll show up and we will either put Windows 11 on there for you 5 years from now, or we will liberate you from the entire circus by putting you on Mint, and then you're just done. You don't have to worry about anything ever again. All right. So a couple more. TechSpot.com, this is from 2023 December. Researchers warn that Windows 11 restrictions could send 240 million computers to landfills. The rationale here is that Windows 11 hardware restrictions will render all of these computers obsolete. Windows 11's strict hardware requirements have received their fair share of controversy since 2021, and saw users finding ways around the hardware checks. 480 million kilograms of e-waste, or the equivalent of 320,000 automobiles. And by the way, this estimate is on the low end. We're going to talk about a higher end estimate later. Microsoft's decision will worsen the industry's e-waste problem and highlight the roles of OS vendors in enabling the circular IT model. Windows 11 will help support a struggling PC market, right? Just like you're supporting your local glass guy by smashing people's windows, right? That's my comment. But the termination of Windows 10 support could prevent hundreds of millions of devices from getting second lives. However, this article says the entirety of 240 million computers will not likely land in the garbage dump. There is Linux and repurposing to consider. A small number of Windows 10 machines will see new life as Linux computers, again, because of you and me. Others will continue running Windows 10. Many users will recycle their computers. Look, folks, again, if you don't want to give them to us, you can properly recycle. And again, even if you broke it or your cat broke it or like whatever, please properly recycle at the very least. Hard drives and other components provide materials in EV production or power generation structures. Recyclers can also reclaim metals such as lithium, cobalt, nickel, and copper. Modern e-waste recycling and repurposing should take care of most of the projected waste. Really? 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 Because all I see here is chaos, and it's a circular model that's rife with inefficiency. Even if you do put it in the e-waste, do you really think they're going to recover 100% of these materials?
I'm not even close. And the energy used to do it too.
The energy expended to produce this, exactly.
And the energy used to mine and manufacture new ones to replace the old ones.
And the energy to rip the old ones apart. And if you're in Ghana, you're burning stuff. And PBS did documentaries about in China, they're burning stuff just to get the metals out.
We got to increase our carbon footprint, so they're doing their fair share.
Yeah. Yeah, and we'll get to that too next. All right, this one's really good here. This is from PIRG.org, and that's PIRG.org. This is from 2024. Windows 10 expires in a year, junking millions of PCs. Here's how we pushed Microsoft to extend support for schools and why we're advocating for more. So this PIRG organization is headed by Lucas Rocket Gutterman, and he stared them down.
Oh.
He went to Redmond and stared them down. So the day after we called for further action, Microsoft announced individuals would be able to extend support for Windows 10 for 1 year for $30. We're excited. Actually, they didn't announce that anywhere. Did you see that pop up on any computers that you've ever seen?
No, I just saw we're discontinuing support.
Exactly. So I guess Microsoft threw this guy a bone, but never bothered to tell. Because why would Microsoft want to tell someone that you can pay $30 when they could just have you put it in the garbage? Microsoft loves, and you'll see in these pop-ups, folks, you've probably seen them already, where it says, "We're going to help you dispose of your computer and buy another one," right? They're dripping with evil. So, anyway, Microsoft announced, or threw this guy a bone, that individuals would be able to extend support for Windows 10 for a year for $30. For the first time, Microsoft will allow consumers to buy extended support. Supposedly, for businesses, they're charging a ridiculous, prohibitive amount of money to keep a Windows 10 machine going.
I don't know. Maybe I just don't know, but I don't really understand anything other than businesses, like just normal consumers paying for Microsoft support.
Right, and none of it matters.
My interactions with them, it's like, it hasn't really been useful. Like, if you can open Google, odds are you can solve your problem for free and a little bit of time.
Oh, yeah, and well, you're talking about tech support, but they mean support in the magic word support.
Yeah.
In other words, it's a magic illusion that they put out to the world that support means if we don't feel like supporting it, your computer will explode with viruses immediately. It's that illusion that viruses still exist and you need to keep buying new stuff on the treadmill. Take a look at my next book. You can buy a preview edition of my next book on thecomputerexorcist.com, and I talk about the support treadmill scandal.
It's a good plug-in right there.
Yeah, right. See, I don't have ads in the show. This is just for us. All right. We believe the best way to stop e-waste would be to extend support for everyone automatically. All right, this guy wants free everything forever. And again, it doesn't matter. Your computer ain't gonna explode. I've got computers from 2007 and 2010 that are totally fine and they're safe and nothing can ever happen to them as long as you don't fall for the scary pop-ups, okay? Microsoft plans to end support, potentially rendering up to, this guy's estimate, ready? Up to 400 million computers obsolete overnight, with dire consequences for both consumers and the environment. 40% of PCs currently in use cannot upgrade to Windows 11 due to those hardware limitations, right? Those fake limitations we talked about, fake and arbitrary. When security updates for Windows 10 cease, these machines will either become vulnerable to attacks, which isn't true, or they'll be discarded. Only 22% of electronic waste is recycled.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Someone
Someone should go tell that author from the article a few minutes ago, huh? This PIRG estimates that only 22% of these machines are recycled. The rest of them are going in the garbage. I see them on the side of the road all the time because people think, whatever, I'll put it in the garbage.
And even the parts that like are recycled, there's so much extra material on there that isn't recyclable.
Yeah, like
so
we were
recycle
saying.
all the important metals and stuff, but that only accounts for what, like not even half of the volume taken up by the computer.
Oh, and think about we didn't even talk about the transportation energy expended to transport these machines to your local Best Buy so they can put it down your throat, right? So, the extending support for these machines is the only way Microsoft can meet their ambitious sustainability goal of becoming carbon negative by 2030. That's your answer to that. Where manufacturing of these soon-to-be obsolete devices has already resulted in 46 million tons of carbon pollution. So basically, he's saying, look, they're already so much in the hole in this carbon thing,
yeah,
right? That they're really going to be in the hole unless they do something here. We deserve better than a world where nothing's designed to last. I need to put that as in the description of this. That's beautiful. We deserve better than a world where nothing's designed to last. We cannot allow arbitrary software expirations to drive a cycle of waste. Google announced they would extend support of Chromebooks to 10 years, right? Chromebooks are those little Google laptops that are time bombs where Google tells you to throw them away because you're going to get viruses. Same as this. Same concept.
They last long enough for them to do that.
Yeah, right. Well, most non-HP Chromebooks do last physically.
Okay.
And again, guess what, folks? If you have a Chromebook sitting in your drawer and you got the scary message that's holding itself hostage, we can all liberate it with Mint. So it's kind of difficult, but we can do it. Google announced they would extend support of Chromebooks for 10 years, and Samsung has committed to 7 years of support for their evil smartphones and satanic televisions. Emphasis added.
Okay, let's say, did they write that in the article?
No, that was me. Look, there is no reason, there is no benefit to Windows 11, no one needs it, and absolutely no one wants it. Final comments, Apprentice Palmer.
I don't know, man. It just feels like a waste.
Yeah, it's the cycle of waste, and it's the greatest cash grab I have ever seen. Thank you so much for joining us. You can get a preview edition of my next book at thecomputerexorcist.com. If you are local to Rochester and need someone to help you, one of us can do that for you. If you are in non-Rochester, then we will shortly begin expanding to other cities in non-Rochester, so contact us if you want to be a computer exorcist in that area. Talk to you next week.